Want to go on the record for just a moment, ask. Well, good evening, everyone. Let me call the City Council meeting back to order. The time right now is a minute or so after 7 p.m. Welcome back to City Hall, and thank you for coming. This time, I'd like to ask Pastor Mike Huggins from the Vineyard Community Church to come forward for our invocation. And then we'll have Brownie Girl Scout Troop 7575 come forward to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor, welcome. Thank you.
Glad to be here. Glad you got in God we trust over. That's very nice.
Got it up there.
We just thank you for this opportunity to gather in peace here. Thank you, God, that you've made such a great government here in Laguna Niguel, the police and every department up to the mayor. We just respect our leaders and we just thank you for appointing them. We pray you guide them tonight as they make decisions. I pray there be an unusual wisdom on them to make decisions that are good for our community. We pray protection over every one of them and all of the administrators and all that are in places of authority in our government at every level, from the police right on to the mayor and every other position. We just thank you, God, for their benevolence and their kindness in our area and how good they have governed. I just pray that you would help them to keep doing that, and pray even tonight, whatever they need for wisdom and counsel, whatever they need to know and understand, you would just help them come to a great place of agreement and for our community. And just ask you to bless all these proceedings, including the brownies. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Audience attention. Color guards advance. Would the Honorable Mayor Color Guard present the colors? Would the Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and the audience join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, girls. Stay put.
Audience may be seated.
That may get the award for the most awesome flag salute, I think. So I'd like to think this crowd's here for us, but I really know who it's here for. You guys did great. Well done. Have any of y'all done this before? None of you have done this before? That was your first time? That was so good. Well, thank you for coming out. I know it's getting late and it's dark outside now, even though it's not so late, right? So thank you. I want to let you say hi to everyone. So I'm going to pass the microphone. And if you would, just tell us your name, what grade you're in, and what school you go to.
My name is Ashley. I'm in second grade and I go to St. Edward's.
My name is Valerie. I'm in second grade and I go to St. Edward's. My name is Liliana. I'm in second grade and I go to St. Edward's.
My name is Arabella and I go to St. Edward's and I'm in second grade.
My name's Sophia. I'm in second grade and I go to St. Edward's.
My name is Lainey. I am in second grade and I go to St. Edward's.
My name is Bailey. I'm in second grade and I go to St. Edward's. My name is Eva and I go to second grade and I go to St. Edward's. My name is Lauren and I'm in second grade and I go to St. Edward's. My name's Eloise and I'm in sixth grade and I go to St. Edward's the Confessor. My name is Matilda. I go to second grade and I go to St. Edward's. My name is Grace. I go to second grade and I go to St. Edward's. My name is Lillian and I'm in second grade and I go to St. Edward's. My name's Taylor. I'm in second grade and I go to St. Edward's.
That's so cool. I feel a little left out. I'm not in second grade at St. Edward's. I don't know. Everybody, let's get the leaders to come on up if you would. And I'll let you say hi too. Thank you so much for all you do on behalf of a grateful city. I wanted to say hi to you all as well. I assume you're not in second grade, but why don't you tell us who you are as well?
I'm Shannon. I'm not in second grade, and I have a daughter at St. Edward's.
My name is Cassandra, and I have a daughter at St. Edward's.
My name is Sally, and I'm a leader for these lovely girls, and my daughter goes to St. Edward's.
And this is the most matching uniform evening we've ever had, I think. Even the leaders have the matching uniform, so it's a good job. Thanks. Let's give them a big hand. Wasn't that great? Do you girls mind if we get a picture with you? Good. I'll stand back. Okay, everybody squeeze in a little bit. See, I knew all these people were here for you all. Thank you very much, Rose. Thank you, thank you. And to the council, we are also done, so we can retire to the dais. And on to the equally fun part, the rest of the city council meeting. We don't have any presentations tonight, so we will go right to public communications. Any person wishing to address the city council will need to complete and present one of these lovely gold-colored request to speak forms to the city clerk. The forms are available on the counter that's located near the back door of the city council chambers. Please be aware the time limit is 3 minutes for each person to speak. To allow equal time for speakers, minutes may not be given to someone else, but you do have the right to have another person read a written statement if you have one. City Clerk Gomez, I've received, 2 requests to speak form on general session items and a couple of others on one of the other items. Is that all you have so far?
That's all for now, Mayor.
Okay, great. So let's start with our first speaker tonight is Stephanie Winstead. Welcome back to City Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Good evening, City Council members and staff. My name's Stephanie Winstead, and I'm a resident here in Laguna Niguel. I'm also the chair of the Laguna Niguel Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here to give you your regular update briefing from the Chamber of Commerce on what we have going on. So, as you're aware, this Thursday, the 7th, we have a welcome reception for City Manager Tammy Letourneau. That's at 5:30 at Allen Family Automotive Group, GMC, Hyundai, Cadillac, and something else. Sorry. They used to do the DeLoreans, apparently.
Really?
Okay, also Wednesday the 13th, former Mayor Gary Capita is hosting an Educating Professionals Luncheon at the Chamber of Commerce office. The topic is 4 things businesses need to know about accounting. Tuesday the 19th is the monthly networking breakfast at El Niguel Country Club at 7:30. Just in time for the holidays, the presenter will be David Weiss with David Weiss Designs Fine Jewelry, so he has great timing with that one. And last but not least, the Chamber really appreciates the partnership with the city, and in particular, we have a Shop Laguna Niguel program, and things are in great shape to relaunch our annual Shop Laguna Niguel program. It's powered by Trio, so we're using a Trio app. And it's a great opportunity to remind the residents of Laguna Niguel to shop locally. So I just wanted to give you that update and more details to come regarding the Shop Laguna Niguel program. So,
Great. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Great. Our next speaker is John Harms. Mr. Harms. Welcome to City Hall, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
If you would
Thank you.
please give us your name and address.
Well, first I'll say good evening, Mayor Jennings and City Council members. My name is John Harms. I live at 29801 Weatherwood. Been a resident, my wife and I have been residents in Laguna Niguel for the past 18 years. We certainly admire and appreciate how the leadership of this city has improved our aging infrastructure with the new City Hall, a soon-to-be-completed new Crown Valley Community Center and pool renovation project. Tonight, I'm here to encourage your support of a Capistrano Unified School District's plan to repair and upgrade our aging schools through a March 2020 bond initiative. In late 2016, I answered a call for volunteers to support the district's Facility and Finance Advisory Committee. The purpose of the committee is to provide input, advice, and recommendations on topics pertaining to school facilities and financing. You may be interested that there's 5 other residents from Laguna Niguel that are on the committee, but there was representation from all the cities that comprise the school district. During the past 3 years, our committee studied the results of failed Measure M. We studied successful bond measures in Irvine, Orange, and San Diego Unified School Districts. We visited many of the campuses in the district. We listened to input from a variety of community engagements, including meetings with groups such as Chamber of Commerce and city representatives of all 7 cities. We learned a lot about CUSD, about school funding, and how school districts fund new construction and modernization. The only way to address the aging infrastructure challenge for capital improvements and modernization is through a local bond. In the decade ending 2018, there were 964 bond measures in California, 84% passed. And it should be noted that the California state school bonds, such as the one being proposed in March of next year, are for matching funds. That means the district cannot apply for those funds unless a local bond has already passed. Our school infrastructure is aging. Hard to believe, but the 2 high schools our students attend are 26 years old, that's Aliso Niguel, and 46 years old, the Dana Hills. And Niguel Middle School is 43 years old. Niguel Hills Middle School is 43 years old, older than the city of Laguna Niguel.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. Regarding Measure M, one of the big things was the size of the bond and would the money be spent on our schools. And what the school district has done to address that is to create a school facility improvement district consisting of the schools of Laguna Niguel, and Dana Point, and Aliso Viejo. And by law, the money will only be spent on the schools in these 3 cities. So thank you for your time. My goal this evening was to provide you with the facts associated with the work of the Facilities and Finance Advisory Committee. Laguna Niguel students need our help, and I encourage you to show your support for our young people by supporting the proposed March 2020 school bond. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Harm. City Clerk Gomez, do we have any other requests to speak on general items?
No, Mayor, there are
Okay, great. Now close public communications. We'll move on to our consent calendar. We have items 1 through 15 tonight, and I'll ask my city council colleagues if they have any items that they'd like to pull for consideration. None to hear?
Okay, I will be recusing myself on item number 1 on the warrant register, the first register on pages 6 and 7. Payment number 5012 to Dell, and on the second register, page 4, payment number 5154 to Dell. Dell is my husband's employer, so I'm recusing myself for that. And then later in the agenda, I'll be recusing myself from the community development item due to the fact that I live within 500 feet of the area in question.
Great, thank you very much. Nothing else to pull, though, other than those 2. Any, Councilman Raines?
Sorry, number 10.
Number 10, okay. Mayor Pro Tem? No. Okay, good. Do I have a motion to approve the balance of the consent items?
Second.
Okay, it's moved by the Mayor Pro Tem. It's seconded by Councilmember Menegar. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously. We have only one item pulled tonight. That is item number 10, which is the approval of the First Amendment to the Professional Services Agreement with Cabco Yellow Incorporated, DBA California Yellow Cab for expansion of the Senior Mobility Program. This is pulled by Councilman Raines, if you would.
I just wanted to thank the Parks and Recs for their foresight and their looking into getting additional funding from M2 to provide this additional service for our seniors in our community. I think it's important that we are able to do that, and I'm glad to see that our city's taking a lead on making sure that our seniors can get to their doctor's appointments and hospitals, and the addition of the rides is a big plus for them and also for our community. So that's it. Thank you.
Indeed, I was really appreciative of the Okay, great. Thank you. I was going to say that I was really pleased with that item coming forward. It's a great resource, and I definitely echo everything you just said.
I'd like to comment on that item also.
Sure, go ahead, Councilman
Appreciative
Jones.
of staff bringing this forward. It's huge for our senior citizens to be able to get out of the house, to go to the senior center to socialize, but the addition of a trip to a doctor's appointment and maybe a grocery store, that is really allowing them to live their lives more fully and allowing a senior citizen to go out, go to their appointments, to socialize, to go to their doctors. That is leading to a much healthier life. And that's something that we want for all of our older adults in our city. So, and this is just, when you look at how much the Measure 2 contributes to that, it's a very small impact on our general fund, less than $2,000, but a huge impact to the seniors in our community. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much. I have a motion by Councilman Raines, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Davies. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes unanimously as well. So thank you very much. That concludes our consent calendar items. Our next item is City Manager item number 1, and that is to consider an adoption of an ordinance number 2019-199 to prohibit the sale of flavored electronic cigarettes in the city, amending Laguna Niguel Municipal Code and making a finding of exemption under CEQA in connection therewith. And I'll turn to City Manager Letourneau for our staff report. Thank you.
Yes, actually, Management Analyst Russell Narhara is going to give the staff report this evening.
Great, thank you. Mr. Narhar.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the City Council.
Good evening.
Good evening. At the October 1st, 2019 City Council meeting, the City Council unanimously approved Resolution number 2019-1300 in support of an ordinance to prohibit the sale of flavored electronic cigarette products in Laguna Niguel. Staff was directed to return with a draft ordinance, and tonight we present for your consideration Ordinance number 2019-199 to prohibit the sale of flavored electronic cigarette products here in Laguna Niguel. The proposed ordinance is included as Attachment F in your staff report packet. The proposed ordinance amends Title V, entitled Business and Special Licenses, Business Regulations, and Title VI, entitled Health and Sanitation, of the Laguna Niguel Municipal Code to prohibit the sale of flavored electronic cigarette products in Laguna Niguel. Title V is amended to add a new Article 15 entitled Prohibition of Flavored Electronic Cigarette Products. Title VI is amended to add a new Division 8 entitled Flavored Electronic Cigarette Products. The proposed ordinance will make the sale or offer for sale of flavored electronic cigarette products a violation of the Laguna Niguel Municipal Code. Electronic cigarette is defined as any electronic and/or battery-operated device or delivery system sold in combination with nicotine or other substances in aerosolized or vaporized form. A flavored electronic cigarette product is defined as any electronic cigarette product that imparts a characterizing flavor. According to the U.S. Surgeon General, a nicotine exposure during adolescence can impact learning, memory, and attention. Using nicotine in adolescence can also increase risk for future addiction to other drugs. As of October 29, 2019, the Centers for Disease Control is aware of 1,888 cases of e-cigarette product use associated with lung injury from 49 states, 37 of whom have died. Since the October 1st, 2019 City Council meeting, staff has also received comments in support of the proposed ordinance from the Capistrano School District, Mission Hospital, and the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence. At this time, staff is recommending that the City Council introduce and read the title to the proposed ordinance number 2019-199, waive the reading of the full text of the proposed ordinance, which requires a majority vote, consider the proposed ordinance and make any desired changes to it, and direct that the proposed ordinance number 2019-199 with any changes to it be placed on the agenda for the City Council meeting on November 19th, 2019, and adopt the ordinance at that meeting. That concludes my report. I'm available to answer any questions that may come rise.
Great, thank you, Mr. Narhar. First, we'll ask if there's any council questions to Mr. Narhar, and then we're going to go to public communications. Any? Okay, good. I'll then open public communications on City Manager item number 1. We have several requests to speak, reminding the speakers again the same rules apply, 3 minutes for each. And our first speaker is Zohal Nazorhay. Welcome back. Good to see you.
I'm glad you remember.
I did. How was school?
It was fantastic.
Good.
Hello, Mayor Jennings, council members, and community members. My name is Zohal Norzei, and I currently serve as ASB president at Elisa Niguel High School. I'm a senior this year, and I've spent the last 12 years among some of the most incredible people. We have grown up together and become the young adults that we are today. I've witnessed people achieve greatness in their academics, sports teams, and extracurriculars, and I've also watched students ruin their lives through drug abuse. Our school just celebrated our Red Ribbon Week, and our student leadership team was able to plan an amazing week of spreading awareness and getting our school to come together and pledge to become drug-free. Since the news of the possible ban has been spreading, I have heard both positive and negative feedback. The ultimate truth is that a ban can't end drug abuse among teenagers, but any form of limiting and regulating the sales of flavored juice can help save thousands of lives. Everyone can play their part to protect teens from drug abuse. If you're a parent, it is your responsibility to keep an eye on your kids. And if you do find they have been using e-cigarettes, instead of punishing them, I encourage you to help them stop by caring for them and educating them on the severity of the problem. On behalf of Elisa Niguel High School, thank you for making our city a healthier and happier place. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Our next public speaker is Brenda Manguso. Welcome, Mr. Manguso.
Good evening.
If you would please give us your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Brendan Manguso. I live in 2 Enterprise, apartment 6113 in Aliso Viejo.
Great. Welcome. Floor is yours.
Thank you in advance for taking the time to thoroughly review the subject. I'd like to begin by reminding everybody that tobacco use causes nearly 6 million deaths worldwide each year, including 480,000 in the United States, according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. If tobacco use trends continue, the global death tally is projected to reach 8 million deaths annually by 2030. There is an unavoidable tension between protecting kids from e-cigarettes and then the use of smoking cessation. I want to keep our community safe, but this is an overreach that doesn't address the actual issue. We need to do more to keep young people off of vaping, nicotine, and other products. But this board action doesn't address those issues. By banning flavored vapor products, more people will turn towards the illicit market, mainly on the internet, which will cause a greater health risk and create avenues for youth to obtain vaping products. We should address the enforcement rather than creating new ineffective regulation. The youth experiment with vaping for the buzz, not the flavor. We need to look at more sensible regulations, such as limiting youth access, higher penalties for underage sales, restricting online sales, limiting e-cigarettes to 21+ retail stores, nicotine strength restrictions, penalize the kids for breaking the law. Vaping is not big tobacco. Vaping was founded by smokers for smokers and by helping other smokers quit. We solved the world's cigarette problems, and it didn't cost anybody a dime. We're not saving the children, but we're killing their parents. Thank you.
Great, Mr. Manguso. Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Deb Okura. I was going to introduce you as Colin's mom, but I thought I would.
That's a good introduction.
Yeah. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Hello, Mayor Jennings and Mayor Pro Tem and distinguished council members. My name is Deb Okura, and I live at 27832 Rural Lane in Laguna Niguel. And I'm speaking tonight as a parent who is very concerned with the growing number of local teens who are vaping and using flavored e-cigarettes amid the outbreak of vaping-related illnesses and the death toll that keeps growing. I'm asking for your support in adopting the ordinance to prohibit the sale of flavored electronic cigarettes in the city as a way to help protect the health of our local teens. News, warnings, and research on the dangers of vaping continue to be released almost daily, and the outcomes continue to show that flavored e-cigarette products harm our kids. Just last week, Newsweek featured an article on research from a recent study that included nearly 500 vaping teenagers who attend schools in Los Angeles. The co-author of the study told Newsweek, regulations which reduce youth exposure to flavored e-cigarettes may aid in preventing young people who try e-cigarettes from becoming long-term e-cig users and also from inhaling more of the aerosol into their lungs. He went on to say that regulations like these could also encourage the millions of U.S. adolescents who already use e-cigarettes to quit vaping, especially if they can no longer access e-cigs in the flavors that they like. And when you look at the local data and learn that the 2017 and 2018 California Healthy Kids Survey uncovered that 22%, or 1 in 4, of the 11th graders in Capistrano Unified School District indicated that they use e-cigarettes in the last 30 days, and that this is actually higher than most other neighboring school districts, the county average of 13%, and the state average of 10%. The city has a real opportunity to take action to protect our local teens and impact those concerning statistics.
You have 30 seconds.
So I urge you to adopt the local ordinance to ban the sale of flavored nicotine products within the city of Laguna Niguel. And just as important, I'm asking for your support in ensuring that this ordinance is enforced by the city. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you very much, Ms. Okura. Our next speaker is Garrett Mann. Mr. Mann. Good evening, sir. Welcome, City Hall.
Good evening.
If you would, please state your name and address for us.
My name is Garrett Mann, and my address is 30262 Crown Valley Parkway.
Great, thank you. The floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor Jennings, Mayor Pro Tem Davies, and council members. My name is Garrett Mann, and I've been a resident of Laguna Niguel for 20 years. I'm here tonight to address you and provide you with some facts regarding electronic cigarettes and vaping. Smoking kills 480,000 people a year in the United States, and this measure does nothing to limit or address current smoking rates. This measure will not stop sales into the city of flavored e-liquid, as online sales and underage use are not being addressed. The only people this affects are small businesses in the area and adults legally seeking an alternative to smoking. The majority of high school and underage use is shown to be from online sales. We shouldn't be limiting sales to adult users who wish to use a life-saving product. The CDC and FDA have now stated that illnesses and deaths in the media recently are attributable to the vaping of black market, illegally obtained THC and marijuana products, not nicotine or e-liquid products, which this ordinance does not address. There are things that can be done, but an outright ban does not address the core issues. I'm opposed to this ordinance, and I kindly request that you vote against it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Appreciate it. Our next, and I believe our last, do we have any more comment cards? Great. Thank you. Our last speaker then is Rina Mamoun. How close was I on your last name? Mamoun?
Really close.
Okay.
Yes.
It's trying so
on
hard to get
point.
close.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. If you would please, your name, address, and welcome to City Hall.
Good evening. My name is Rina Mamoun, and my address is 2404 Nutwood Avenue, Fullerton, California.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Jennings and council members. My name is Rina Mamoun, and I am the president of American Lung Association Collegiate Council at California State University, Fullerton. I would like to thank you for having me here to speak with you all today. Everyone is talking about how flavors help them quit. And while that may be true that they switch to vaping, they are replacing one drug with another, not solving addiction. The proposed flavor ban should be extended to cover all tobacco products, including menthol and other flavored tobacco products. Flavored tobacco has been known to cause significant public health implications for youth and people of color. Mentholated and flavored products have been shown to be starter products for youth who begin using tobacco. Not only do these products help establish tobacco habits, but it can also lead to long-term addiction. Furthermore, the existing smoke-free law is out of compliance with state requirements in that it allows smoking in a number of places where smoking, including the use of electronic cigarettes, is prohibited. These areas include, but are not limited to, bars, private rooms used for functions, motel meeting rooms, and hotel and motel rooms. Addressing these public health impacts from smoking and tobacco use generally should be the main priority for the city. The current draft of the ordinance does not prohibit the use of electronic smoking devices. It does not reflect the requirements in state law that prohibit smoking, including the use of electronic cigarettes in all places of employment. In addition, the existing smoke-free ordinance does not apply to outdoor places, including outdoor dining areas, where the air pollution can reach levels comparable to indoor air pollution from smoking. We need a policy that better protects the health of our youth from dangers of aerosol and secondhand smoke. I am a peer health educator. I am here to help my fellow peers. I am an advocate to those who suffer from lung diseases and lung cancer. We are here because we want to be here, because we are being hurt by these products, because we are seeing our fellow students from our schools, our friends, and family members being hurt by these products. This needs to be a generation of change, a generation where youth and adults voice the change for a healthier community. What should be worthy to us is our health and the change that we can create to live a better life.
You have
Thank
20
you for
seconds.
your time.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we have no further requests to speak. I will close public communications, and we move on to council comments regarding that. Wanted to start with by saying thank you for the overwhelming amount of input that we've received both online and through social media and in person here in the council chambers and some in writing. These are complex steps. These are interesting issues that affect so many. We did not bark on this to try to infringe on your average legal product. We started on this with information from our local school district and our local authorities about a crisis that was occurring in our schools, in our backyards, and wanted to do something about it. It is without question in my mind that we have a situation that is beyond epidemic in some circles when we have children who are in 6th grade to 12th grade that many of them have nicotine habits that reach 2 packs of cigarettes a day, but they're receiving that through a vaping product which can be hidden in their clothing. It is designed to be covert. It's designed to look like other things. I think that their positions are indefensible in response to that, and I'm actually proud of some of the e-cigarette companies for trying to do what I would say very lately to do the right thing by stopping the sale of some of the flavors, stopping the advertising, and making other steps that they should have taken long ago. We received some feedback from others who said that this just doesn't go too far, or doesn't go far enough. I can't necessarily disagree with that. I'm not a smoker. This isn't my passion, but there are others that say that these products are legal and that they should be allowed. And I take the position that we should be doing what we were here to do, which was to start with banning flavors which are clearly targeted at the sale for children, indefensibly at that sale. Those occur online. Our ordinance is not limited to retail sales. We have the ability to enforce in any way we'd like, and so it was targeted at all flavors. The only flavor that is not included in that is the flavor tobacco, but the flavor menthol and all things related to it is included in the ban. And for that reason, the proponents that came to us and said that there is a benefit from e-cigarettes to getting people off of regular smoking, and several of our speakers mentioned that, and I couldn't agree more. And to avoid that from becoming an issue, we have categorized out one component of that, but everything else with a flavor is added into that. You know, it is true to say that any important journey starts with a single step. And we are here tonight taking an intentional first step to say to our children that we love you, that we are thinking about you, and that we are sorry that you're going through this, and we're going to try to find a path out of it. I said last time, and I mean it more than ever, I'm not naive. I get it, that Laguna Niguel banning anything will not move the needle in the currency of flavored e-cigarettes nationwide or even worldwide. But this is all I got. As a city council member, I've got a few things that I can do, and I don't want to leave the dais without having done them correctly. And so for that reason, I was very pleased to be joined by Councilwoman Raines and then joined by the rest of the council with a unanimous vote at our last hearing about this. And I think that we're on the right path here. When 1 in 4, one of the speakers mentioned it, when 1 in 4 of your students in high school are using vaping products, you've got a situation. If 1 in 4 of them were using heroin, which this is equally addictive to, we would be having a much more furtive conversation, wouldn't we? They're addicted. Our children who are in 6th grade, some of them have 2-pack-a-day habits. It's unfathomable that it's been allowed to get this way. And so I do not take this lightly. I do not infringe on rights without good cause. But when we have a 1,200% increase in the use of these products by children, something's got to give. We're at 25%. LA Unified and LA County's at 30%. It's indefensibly high. And so from my standpoint, I think this ordinance is important. It's one that I am pleased to say that our community has come out in favor of. I'm pleased to see that some of our health partners in the community have come out in support of. And it means a lot to our community. So thank you very much. I want to open it up to the rest of my council colleagues to see if there are other comments. Any to my left, Councilwoman Genoway.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. You know, when we talk to our students on the youth committee, and those are our high school students who represent the different high schools that serve Laguna Niguel residents, they've been asking for something like this for the last couple of years. They've been telling us the problems that are taking place at school in their classrooms, not using the restroom all day during the school day because it's the vape lounge, of teammates vaping at sports practices. The difference with vaping and other forms of tobacco usage, cigarettes and cigars, is that vaping the delivery method is done in secret. It's done in very small devices that the teachers or the parents may not know that the student is vaping. And we're looking at products that are targeting our youth, our teens. And this is where we do need to take that first step. We've had this October 1st, over a month ago, was when we, as a council, moved to bring this forward as an ordinance. And late this afternoon, we received communication from the American Lung Association and the American Cancer Society, and I greatly appreciate the work that they do. I greatly appreciate and respect what they do. As the daughter of someone who died from lung cancer, from my dad having smoked for 40 years and then quit for 25, but then he still died of lung cancer, and myself as an asthma sufferer, I know that the work that is done is very important. So I would look forward to hearing more about how we can take incremental steps to educate our youth, to educate the public. But as far as this ban goes, I think this is the appropriate thing to do at this point in time, because we do have an epidemic that is targeting the youth of our community and our country. Thank you, Mayor.
Great, thank you very much. To my right, Councilwoman Raines.
So this is a serious, obvious epidemic that we're facing here in our community. When you look at 1 out of 4 children that are doing this, and the thing about it that really, at first when I looked at this and when I spoke with Mayor Jennings, I did consider the business aspect of it. But when you're looking at something that's targeting our youth and becoming a socially acceptable thing, that's the difference. When you smoke a cigarette, there became a time and point where smoking cigarettes became not socially acceptable. And so now we found this new way of finding something that's socially acceptable, and it's kind of the cool thing to do. We have the obligation to look at some way of bringing this forward and taking a stand on it and saying this is not okay and it's not going to be socially acceptable. And this ordinance kind of puts that into place. It doesn't take away personal responsibility that we have as parents to educate our youth and our neighbors, kids, and, to pay attention. But it does help us start that and make that step forward to doing the right thing. So for this reason is one of the things that I joined and wanted to make this be something that we as a council looked at and that as a city passed this resolution. So I'm in favor for that. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councilman Raines. Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Thank you. I can tell you when I got on City Council in 2012, I got very active with drug prevention. And I remember seeing e-cigarettes come up. And we knew darn well that this wasn't going to be good, but there's nothing they could do at that time because they had no results. But we knew the results were going to come within 4 or 5 years, and now we see them. The tobacco company saw, excuse me, a loss of revenue when it came to cigarettes, and so they knew they had to target our kids in another way, and this being it. This is a small step that we're taking at a local level, and I'm hoping, though, we're going to set a precedence, and our sister cities nearby are going to start doing the same thing. And as the gentleman spoke, I'd like to see all of that taken to state level, because that's where it can go, because just doing city by city isn't a lot we can do, but if we can get a state level and those regulations, then that's going to help all of us. And when you talk about, it's still easy enough to get online, we have to remember, again, this is the responsibility of parents. In order to get this online, you have to have a credit card. And so parents have to realize when they're giving their kids $100 or if they're giving their credit cards, they need to know where that's coming, where that's going, and they have to be responsible for that. So for our part right here as a council, this is what we can do to start this ordinance. We're hoping to, set the precedents, get people to start following it. I'd love to help you take that to the state level and do that as well, because I think that there's need for a change. I know the federal level is looking at this as well. So I think this is a beginning. I think we're going to see changes, but we do have a lot of things we have to do now, especially with these kids. We have kids that are in high school and middle school that are addicted to drugs. Now they're addicted to nicotine, and we have to actually go and give them the help they need. So there's many, many prongs to this, solving this problem. But I think this is a good start, and we hope that, you'll join in, you'll help us, will help me take it to the state level, or all of us, and go from there. So I do support this. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilor Mendigar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like all of my colleagues, I'm in favor of this prohibition of the sale of any flavored e-cigarettes. I understand that this is the first step. When my kids were going to high schools in this area, they kept telling me that what's going on in the bathrooms of these high schools, and I was pretty surprised. And I think at this juncture, for us, this is the best way to do it, and then we're going to wait and see 6 months to see what happens with the neighboring cities of Aliso Viejo, Dana Point, Laguna Beach, San Juan, and to see how they're going to be moving in that direction. And then based on that, then we are going to revisit this this resolution, this ordinance, and then we'll act accordingly.
Great, thanks, Councilor Mendigar. I echo all of those thoughts. I do call upon my colleagues in not only our neighboring cities, but all across Orange County and beyond to take a look at this. There is something that you can do. We are by ourselves right now. Laguna Niguel would be the first city in Orange County to pass such an ordinance, but we surely will not be the last. I don't mind taking point on this because I know that like them or like us, they care about their kids as well. And I have this feeling that we're onto something here, and this is just the start of much more to come. Sure, one more comment from Mayor Pro Tem, sure.
Thank you. One thing too, when you see different ordinances of no smoking in cities and so forth, in order for us to put an ordinance on the books, we have to be able to enforce it. And you see a lot of cities that put certain things on there and they don't enforce it. This is something we can enforce. And so that's why I support this as much as we do. It's something that we're capable of. We have the staff, and then we can actually make a difference. So when we do put this out there, those that are in our city will know that we will be checking up on them, and we will deal with what we have to if they're not obeying by the law. Thank you.
That's right, and the enforcement is it's a misdemeanor. It's a up to $1,000 fine per instance, and up to 6 months in jail. So we are not kidding. This is a real ordinance. If you sell this, you should expect that, assuming this passes. So with that, I want to thank my council colleagues. This is definitely a team sport, and I'm very pleased with your comments. I will, at this time, make a motion to approve items A through D on this agenda item. I'd only want to ask City Attorney Ennis, do I need to read out items to A through D, or are you okay with the recitation to that?
We do need to read the title of the ordinance, Mr.
Okay, very
Mayor.
good.
So I would read the entirety of A.
Okay, very good. Then my motion will include ordinance number 2019-199, an ordinance of the City of Laguna Niguel, California, prohibiting the sale of flavored electronic cigarettes in the city, amending the Laguna Niguel Municipal Code and making a finding of exemption under CEQA in connection therewith. We will waive the reading of the rest of the full text. We have considered the ordinance, and that having heard no changes to the ordinance will be moved as presented. That's my motion. Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
And second by Councilwoman Raines. Thank you for that. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? I'd like to note that that passes unanimously. So thank you very much, and thank you for the city for their input. We will next move on to our next agenda item, which is community development item number 1, and that is for the adoption of a 2019 California Building Standards Code, including local amendments and adoption of the state-designated very high fire hazard severity zones. Community Development Director Udunya will provide us a staff report. But before I do, I'm going to note that the Councilwoman Genoway is recused for this because of proximity of her residence to this zone, and I believe the same is true for Councilmember Menninger.
I have to do the same.
Very good. Yeah, I know. So we appreciate them. We'll give them a moment to retire, and we will move on. Director Udunya, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor. Development Services Manager John Morgan will be providing the presentation on this item.
Thank you. Mr. Morgan.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. This agenda item for your consideration is the adoption of the current cycle of the state building and fire codes and adoption of the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, known as CAL FIRE for short, designated very high fire hazard excuse me, severity zones within the city. Lincoln, thank you. The state mandates that every 3 years, the California Building Standards Commission adopt and publish the California Building Standards Code. This collection of codes establishes the minimum standards for the design and constructions of buildings and structures in California. In broad terms, they generally deal with safety, accessibility, energy efficiency, and sustainability. These new codes will become effective January 1st, 2020. Prior to this effective date, every city and county has the opportunity to adopt local amendments to these codes. The city of Laguna Niguel has adopted local amendments during each of the prior triannual code adoption cycles, most recently in November 2016. The Community Development Department, in collaboration with Orange County Fire Authority, are proposing local amendments to be included as a part of this cycle. Each of these recommendations are considered necessary from a life safety or fire prevention standpoint, or are administrative in nature. Most of the local amendments proposed are already in the city's municipal code and were adopted in previous cycles. A couple examples of codes that would be carried forward are cited on this slide. This includes the use of fire-rated roofing materials, swimming pool barrier and safety requirements for automatic sprinkler systems for new buildings over 5,000 square feet, and for additions to existing buildings in certain circumstances. It also includes foundation and footing design parameters due to the city's poor soil conditions. As discussed in greater detail in the staff report, also before the council for consideration is the recommendation by city staff and Orange County Fire Authority to adopt the CAL FIRE designated and map very high fire hazard severity zones within the city as required by the state. Per the government code, the California legislature has determined that the prevention of fires is not a municipal affair, but is instead a matter of statewide concern. Notable, subject to the adoption of the CAL FIRE mapped fire hazard area, OCFA is recommending modest additional fire-resistant construction measures apply to room additions, decks and balconies, and accessory structures when located within a fire hazard zone as a new local amendment. As generally summarized on this slide, for room additions, the size of ventilation openings would be required to be reduced from 1/4 inch to no greater than 1/8 inch. And this is intended to assist in resisting building ignition from the intrusion of building embers and flame through the ventilation openings. For balconies and decks, the walking surface material would be required to be built of ignition-resistant construction. And then finally, for accessory structures, it would be necessary for them to be built out of either non-combustible material or ignition-resistant construction. OCFA has indicated that these additional modest measures would assist in reducing the threat to life and property in these hazard zones, and city staff supports this new local amendment. Moving on. As abbreviated on this slide and stated in its entirety in the staff report, staff recommends that the city read the title of the proposed ordinances, waive the full reading, and direct that the ordinances be placed on the November 19th agenda for adoption. That concludes our presentation. Aside from community development staff, we also have Eric Elmer and Jennifer Bauer with OCFA. Should the council have any questions on this item? Thank you.
Great, Mr. Morgan. Thank you very much. I wanted to clarify, and I went back and read the history of this, and I know that it was discussed at great length back in 2012. We haven't revisited it since that time, and the council was struggling back then with unfunded mandates from Sacramento with respect to what we were doing to people's property. I think most of that, as I can tell from the presentation, has been addressed over time. I went through in some detail with the city manager today about the impact on existing structures and if there would be any changes to use. It appears that those are, if there are any, they're inordinately limited, and this appears to relate solely to new construction and when there is a change to existing structure that qualifies the language under the ordinance. That would then require screening, as an example, on eaves and other things. So I think it is without question that the reparative nature of what we're talking about is very important, that is the fire suppression systems and everything, the technology is so improved, and I think our ordinances need to keep up. I understand that we're one of the few cities that is catching up on getting this adopted, and I want to make sure that we are at the forefront of what OCFA needs on that. Is there any part of this that you believe that the council needs to be concerned about on either land use or precluding somebody's use of their property?
No, I mean, by adoption of these state maps, it really applies to just new building construction, and it really applies to, I think we've estimated 27 vacant custom lots in the community, so they would just have upgraded construction that they would have to do through that process. And then in terms of existing structures, there's a threshold of a minimum $50,000 job valuation before it would even trigger those ventilation upgrades. So we felt it was imperative to limit the scope of any encumbrance for existing structures and homeowners. And the improvements that we're talking about could potentially cost just a matter of a few $100.
Great. Well, I appreciate that. I want to ask and see if there's any questions or comments by council. Councilor Raines?
To clarify, so what you're saying is if somebody already has an existing property and they come in to get a permit to do something, as long as it's under $50,000, they're not going to have to update their whole property. Is that correct?
That's correct for room additions. Now, when we're talking about accessory structures, they are subject to the ignition resistant construction, but it's only for the new construction. You wouldn't be retrofit. There would be no need to retrofit. Okay. As currently proposed.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great, thanks. Anything else? Okay, good. With that, I'll make a motion for the approval of that agenda item. I will read the title of that, which is ordinance number 2019-200, an ordinance of the City of Laguna Niguel, California, adopting by reference the 2019 California Building Code, the 2019 California Residential Code, the 2019 California Green Building Standards Code, the 2019 California Electric Code, the 2019 California Plumbing Code, the 2019 California Mechanical Code, the 2019 California Administrative Code, the 2018 International Property Maintenance Code, and the 2018 International Swimming Pool and Spa Code, together with certain amendments, additions, deletions, and penalties, and amending Title 8 of the Laguna Niguel Municipal Code, as well as ordinance number 2019-201, an ordinance of the City of Laguna Niguel, California, adopting by reference to the 2019 California Fire Code, together with amendments, deletions, additions, penalties, and amending Title 11 Laguna Niguel Municipal Code. We have waived the reading of the full text. We have considered that, and there is a motion pending. Is there a second by Mayor Pro Tem Davies? All in favor say aye. Aye. It's unanimous by the three remaining. We do note the abstentions of council members Minigar and Genoway on that item. So with that, that's it.
We do have a second, third ordinance, rather. It's
thank you.
ordinance 2002.
And that is ordinance 2019-202, an ordinance of the City of Laguna Niguel, California, adding Article 7 to Division 3, Title 11 of the Laguna Niguel Municipal Code, designating very high fire safety severity zone within the City of Laguna Niguel. And we have waived the reading of that text and considered the ordinance, and I'd make a motion for its approval. Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Davies. All in favor say aye. There is no opposition, noting the same abstentions. Going to the last one? Is that it?
That's
okay. We're good. All right. Thank you very much. That concludes that agenda item, and we will move on to our council discussions and other business once we gather the rest of our crew. And thank you to OCFA for joining us tonight.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Welcome back. You missed the fun part. Congratulations. That's right. We're moving on to council reports and other reports. I'll start with my left, Councilman Minigar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one quick item. This coming Thursday, Regional Council of Southern California Association of Governments would be voting on the draft RENA methodology that would be presented to the California Department of Housing and Community Development. And I'm pleased to some extent that SCAG staff, and because of all the inputs that were provided to SCAG staff, they were able to come up with a hybrid methodology, but by no means this is not exactly what the South Orange County cities, along with quite a few other cities in Southern California, have been advocating for. But I think it's better than the previous proposal. So on Thursday, I'll be voting upon that item on behalf of 6 coastal cities of South Orange County.
Great, thank you very much. Councilwoman Genoway.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Just want to be sure that our residents know, many of you were here last night for the open house for the city center, and that there's been a lot of talk regarding the library. We do have a library task force that is working on that and developing some recommendations, and there is a library consultant that's working with the group, and the group is made up of the mayor and myself and representatives from the county, from the developer, and also residents from our city, and also friends of the library. So that is work that is taking place, and I just want to be sure our residents know that's taking place on their behalf. Regarding another library item, is I am chair of the Orange County Public Library Advisory Board, and this year we formed a strategic planning subcommittee to look at what is the funding model for the future growth in our county, and that is something that we are addressing. We just made some recommendations for some work to be done, and this will be a long-term process, but we need to look at, there's going to be future development in our county, and how are those residents, how are their library services provided? So that's something that we're working on. On October 26th, the Niguel Botanical Preserve had a very nice ceremony and presentation for the Citizen of the Year tree grove. Each Citizen of the Year has a tree planted with a plaque, and this was the dedication of the tree for our newest Citizen of the Year, John Ulrich, who happens to be sitting in the back. Yay, John. So he was the 2018 Citizen of the Year. But, you know, our Niguel Botanical Preserve is an absolute gem in our city. And if you haven't been there, just go there, walk around, take a look. It is absolutely beautiful and some very nice views there. October 27th, the mayor and I attended the PEP for You 5th Anniversary Gala. PEP for You stands for Parkinson's Exercise Program. And this is an exercise program that takes place actually at the Y, and I know for a while they were over at Sea Country. And I give a lot of credit to the group because it's a grassroots organization of people finding there is a need and how do we provide a solution, because it's been proven that exercise delays the onset of Parkinson's. So this is a group that has gotten together. They raise money. The money that they've raised pays for the, coaches for the exercise sessions. But congratulations to PEP for You and all of the people working with them. And then we've got some exciting things coming up in the city. On Monday, Veterans Day, the Laguna Niguel Military Support Committee will be having the annual Veterans Day ceremony. And the guest speaker this year will be Theodore Turner. He was a World War II fighter pilot. He'll be talking about combat flying in the South Pacific Theater during World War II. And he will be a real treat to listen to. Everybody should be there. Bring children too. They need to hear this living history. And we have these rare opportunities. And Mr. Turner, it will be 3 weeks shy of his 99th birthday. So we hope to see you all at Sea Country Senior and Community Center on Monday. The program starts at 11. The doors open at 10:30. And then the holiday toy drive for the children of our military adopted units is on November 9th, 10th, 11th, and December 1st at Walmart from 9 to 8. And our community is always so generous. So please stop by, drop off the toys at the collection table outside. Or if you would like to if your business would like to collect toys or your neighborhood would, please let us know and we'll put you in touch with the members of the Military Support Committee who can help arrange that. This Friday, on November 8th, the Senior Citizens Advisory Council, which is a county-wide council that's advisory to the Board of Supervisors, will be having their meeting here at City Hall in the community room starting at 9:30. The public is invited. The presentation will be on the AARP Livable Communities. What are the components in a community that makes it livable for all ages? So I think that'll be very interesting, and the public is welcome to that. And just a reminder that applications for city commissions and committees are still being accepted until November 15th. So we know our residents love to volunteer and participate in the city, so please be sure to get your applications in. If you have any questions, call our city clerk Gomez and she'd be happy to help you with that. And that is all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's anything left, Councilman Raines? No, we're good. So,
I really cut it down, see?
So
did we.
Just wanted to say what an honor it was to attend the All Hands, which was our Orange County Sheriff's breakfast, to watch and see all of them there, and to it's just an honor to know that we have such an incredible safety officers here in our city. So it was really nice to be there and be part of that. I just wanted to briefly say that we didn't have a meeting 2 weeks ago because we spent the whole day at a strategic plan workshop that our city manager, Tammy Letourneau, put on for us, and it was really insightful and really helpful, and we appreciate all of the residents who sent in their surveys and took the time to give us your feedback. It's important to us, and the fact that we know what you're thinking and that a lot of it was things that we're thinking, and now we're working together so that we can plan for our future of our community and do what's right for our community. So that was a very good day for us as council and city staff, because I think we all participated and enjoyed that. And then Veterans Day is on Monday, and I just want to say thank you to my family of military. My father-in-law, 98 World War II veteran, and my husband is a 24-year veteran of the Army, and our daughter is serving in the United States Navy in Norfolk, Virginia right now. And last week, my husband actually got to take his father to visit her, so that was a pretty amazing thing. So it's a nice thing, and we hope to see you on Monday, Veterans Day. Thanks.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies.
I didn't cross off anything. So
Wow, okay.
Everybody sit back and relax. Just kidding. All right. First of all, we had our vaping workshop a couple weeks ago, and I want to thank our school district as well as OC sheriffs and staff. It was very successful. We had 2 separate workshops going, one for teens and one for the parents, educating them on what's happening and kind of the things that we were talking about today. A lot of the parents had no idea in regards to the different type of clothing that they're using, and just, really trying to get the message across. So we will continue to always be, out there trying to protect our kids, especially when it comes to drug prevention. ACCOC, we had a housing forum at Disneyland, which was very successful. We had about 250 people come. Obviously, we know there's a lot of regulations and restrictions on housing coming down and what's expected from our cities. And so I want to thank the mayor for speaking. We were talking about RETA numbers and how it's going to affect our cities. But it was great to have BIA and OCBC and a lot of great speakers coming together, because I think we're going to solve this problem. We would rather do it at this level than have the state try to figure it out. So I think it's always better coming from us. And then also, I went to the OCBC annual economic reports, and this was actually one of those luncheons where you walked away and everyone was very happy. Numbers are looking great. We're getting more income from the online sales than expected. Also with OCTA, we're up by $4 million extra than we thought, so that will be going to measure too. So all in all, everything was very good, and I want to thank this council for the opportunities that we get to do. It may be small steps, but it makes a difference, and the fact that we have the opportunity to do that, thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Great, thank you, and it sort of warms my heart to see all of our council members out doing. I just went down the list of the things that each one of you all are doing in our region, and it's truly incredible. From RENA numbers to seniors and libraries to OCFA and beyond, it's truly remarkable what we get our hands in, and we are making steps. 2 of those big steps I think occurred in the last cycle. Both of them have been referenced, but I just want to take a second to highlight those. The first was the strategic plan. That was the first time we'd ever done that in Laguna Niguel. It was very, very interesting. It was great to see people come together. I love the table conversations, and the truth is that we never get to talk to each other about what's important about the city. The Brown Act, places certain restrictions on us for doing that, and rightfully so, I think. But the truth is, when we get together and we get to sit around tables in a notice meeting, some really interesting things come out. I'm just trying to help. So, our city attorney's looking at me with a smile that we don't do it without you, Kevin. So it's good. So it's important that we have these conversations. We get into this line of work generally because we're good collaborators and we like to get along and work with people to get good results. And then you take the dais and a new thing starts happening. And as I say, rightfully so. But what came out of that was fantastic. It's interesting to hear how similar our visions were, but how cooperative we were in trying to craft those visions with mission statements and vision statements and new projects coming up, and we'll be using that for years to come. And I really appreciate the council putting its thumbprint on the future. That's coming before us on November 19th. I highly encourage anybody to come in and listen. We've got public comment areas if you'd like to hear it. I think you'd find it interesting. The second was our last night meeting, which you heard about the community open house. This is the second of many meetings we have with the project in mind for City Center of trying to get it right, to listen to you, to see what it is that's important to you, to get your highs and lows on what you think about that project and what we can do and what can we help the developer with and talk to the county about. And we got, I don't know, did we get a count on that? Hundreds, I think, but many people came in. They watched the video. I want to let everyone know that, as promised, the video is now online. You can see it, and you can see renderings. We had some difficulty with that last time, and this time it's up and it's there, and I invite your comments. You will be seeing in social media posts on our website, in some of your takeout bags around town and otherwise, that the library group is asking for your feedback on a survey with respect to how you use the library. We want to make sure we get this right, and we're trying to build something that will be incredible for all of our city. What we have is fantastic, and what we're planning should be well past that even more. So I encourage you to look for that, to get it out. I think it ends on the 12th, if I'm remembering the date correctly. Is that right?
That's correct.
That's great. Thank you. So you have time, so if you would, please look that up and provide your feedback. And with that, I will go around the room. I'll start with City Attorney Ennis. Anything to report tonight?
We are evaluating a series of laws that are passed by Sacramento this last legislative session, specifically laws relating to housing, and there's quite a few. And so we'll be working with the Community Development Department to interpret and apply those, and we'll bring necessary amendments forward as needed. So that's my report this evening. Thank you.
Great, thank you. The city has appropriated a certain amount of antacid for you all to use as you go through that. I know it'll be needed. It causes me heartburn and others, so
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Chief, you got to be happy tonight. We got your item passed.
Thank you all for that. I'll just leave it. It's been a busy couple weeks. Citizens are safe, and let's move forward.
Yes, sir, and to your crews and the crews of CAL FIRE and all across California, we say thank you. I don't like seeing it in the evening news, but I sure like watching your people do your work, and it's fantastic. Lives saved, property saved, and we know it comes at great cost and great expense, and we appreciate it. So if you would please, on behalf of us, pass that along, Chief. Thank you. Our Community Development Director, Orduña.
Just a few quick additional notes on the City Center project. In addition to the city's website, information will also be available on the developer's website. It is LagunaNiguelCityCenter.com. And also next Wednesday, November 13th at 6 p.m., we will be holding the Environmental Impact Report scoping meeting. So another touch point with the community, an opportunity for the community to ask questions, hear a bit more about the project, and also provide information to staff that will be utilized as part of the environmental analysis for the project.
Great. Thank you very much for the presentations tonight. Mr. Morgan.
Nothing more to add. Thank you.
Great, and thank you for your help tonight. Mr. Halsey, you didn't say anything tonight.
Well, I'm glad I didn't have to.
Yeah, I know. It works out well, doesn't it? So thank you thanks for being here, and we appreciate the help on everything. So
you.
Great, thank you. City Clerk Gomez.
Nothing for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Parks and Recreation Director Giglio.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. November 11th, we kick off our Letters to Santa campaign. Hate announcing that before Thanksgiving, but it ends shortly after Thanksgiving. So anyone interested can send a letter to Crown Valley Park, or they can drop the letter off. We have a mailbox in front of the park. Also, the Junior Civic Workshop on Tuesday, November 12th will feature Parks and Rec and Public Works. So we're very excited for that opportunity. And the winter recreation brochure should be mailed to all residents this week. So be on the lookout for all the great things this winter. And I'd like to welcome Recreation Supervisor Jeff Kirby to the meeting. He had a lot of input into the SMP program, and he's doing some great things at Sea Country Center. So just wanted to recognize him tonight.
Yeah, he sure is, and we see it all the time. Do we have any insight on Santa's favorite cookie this year? I know that changes. No? I want to make sure I get that in my letter. So Public Works Director Scott.
I am with Ted tonight, so nothing further to add.
Well,
Thank you.
I see a conspiracy developing. Okay, good. We turn to City Manager LaTorna.
Well, I'm happy to announce on Thursday, November 7th, we will welcome our new Deputy City Manager, Justin Martin, to our Laguna Niguel family. So we're very happy about that. Great. So I know you will all join me in welcoming him to the community.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. With that, unless there's anything more, we are officially adjourned at 8:16 p.m.